The car was a mess, a real eyesore with character. Its paint was flaking off, one headlight was foggy, and there was a dent on the fender that my uncle tried to patch up with duct tape and some glue. The driver's seat was shredded worse than a campaign promise, and the key only worked if you turned it just right while muttering a prayer. Still, it was mine, handed down from my grandfather. It had been sitting in the shed for years until I decided to drag it out and give it a little TLC and no fancy restoration. Just the basics, a good scrub, an oil change, and a hope it might still run. The thing barely moved, it coughed more than it drove. But when that engine sputtered to life, it hit me with a nostalgia no shiny new SUV could touch. That's when she showed up. Laura Bennett, new to the neighborhood, barely unpacked before she crowned herself president of the HOA. She walked like she owned the place, her face perpetually pinched, her clothes stiff with starch, her perfume so sweet it could choke you. She looked at everything like it was out of place except her. On day 3, I got a printed notice, stamped with the HOA seal and all. The vehicle parked in your garage poses an aesthetic threat to the neighborhood's visual harmony. Please remove it within 72 hours to avoid penalties. Aesthetic threat? My car, she claimed, was visual pollution. The kicker? It wasn't even on the street, it was tucked away in my garage. Didn't matter. Laura wanted her neighborhood polished, sterile, like a real estate ad. I ignored the note. History doesn't bend to someone else's idea of pretty. But ignoring Laura was like poking a hornet's nest. The next day, another notice. Then a letter in my mailbox with a photo of the car attached. By the end of the week, Indula 800 fine landed for non-compliance with community appearance standards. My blood boiled, not over the money but the nerve. The disrespect. The gall of someone thinking a car's worth lies in fresh paint and sleek lines. Laura started circling the street, slowing down as she passed my house, staring like she'd spotted a cockroach. A neighbor told me she'd ranted to the HOA group about how my junk was ruining the neighborhood's vibe. She had no idea what she was messing with. That car wasn't just old, it was a 1970 Dodge Charger, an original R/T edition, one of the few left with its factory engine and matching serial numbers. To most, it looked like a beater. To those in the know, it was a treasure. My grandfather bought it new back when cars roared with soul. He treated it like family. After he passed, it came to me, and out of laziness, tight funds, and respect for his memory, I never got around to fixing it up. But now, with Laura and her HOA cronies trying to erase my legacy, things were about to change. I took detailed photos, checked the chassis, dug up the paperwork, and posted it all on a car enthusiast forum. Within a day, 3 collectors reached out. One asked to see it in person. When he showed up, he circled the car slowly, popped the hood, and let out a long breath. "Do you know what you've got here?" he asked. I grinned. I'm starting to. The price he offered would have made Laura's head spin. I didn't sell, not yet. I had bigger plans. The notices kept coming, each one starchier than the last, threats wrapped in fake politeness. Laura acted like my car was a biohazard. One week, she upped the ante with a community aesthetics review. Then she claimed it was an abandoned vehicle. The final straw? A guy from City Hall showed up in a vest, saying he was there to check for environmental contamination. Laura had filed a report claiming the car was leaking toxic oil and breeding disease-carrying bugs. The inspector poked around, sniffed the engine, scribbled in his notebook and said, "This is cleaner than my desk." I signed his form, thanked him, and left the garage door wide open just to mess with her. Meanwhile, word was spreading. The collector posted a photo on Instagram, a legend hiding in suburbia museum piece. Comments flooded in. People recognized the model. Is that an original R/T? The buzz reached Laura's ears and it stung. The HOA called a meeting vaguely titled Addressing Unsightliness in the Northern Sector, code for, "Let's get rid of that guy's car." I showed up, casual, hands in my pockets, ready to listen. Laura ran the show like a TED Talk on curb appeal, preaching about visual standards and urban decay prevention. Then she said, "Some vehicles don't just look bad, they resist progress." A quiet guy in the back raised his hand. "You mean the black Charger?" Laura faltered. He pressed on. "I heard that car's worth more than my house." Another neighbor chimed in, "More than mine too." The room stirred. Laura tried to pivot, but the truth was out. The next day, the local paper ran a story. Vintage car in upscale neighborhood sparks aesthetic feud, and it's worth millions. No names, but the photo showed my charger, plate blurred, with my house in the background and Laura clutching her clipboard. The town went nuts. Collectors started cruising by. People snapped photos, asked questions. The car became a local celebrity. A YouTube channel for classic cars did a video, the host chuckling, "This beauty was almost scrapped for not fitting the HOA's VYB. Crash this and you're selling organs to pay for it." The video hit 400,000 views. Laura's HOA reign turned into a meme fest, queen of visual offense. Someone drew her sweeping my car away, captioned, "When vintage runs you over." Laura didn't take it lying down. She rolled up with architects and a new rule proposal. Every vehicle on display had to meet contemporary aesthetic standards. That's when my lawyer sent a letter, warning that targeting private property, especially a documented classic, was abuse of power. The tide turned. Neighbors questioned the HOA's fees, rules, and Laura's iron grip. Her spell was breaking. The car wasn't just a car, Anna Marie, it was defiance, history, realness. Then came the call. A British collector, voice calm and eager, said he'd seen the YouTube video. "Is the Charger for sale?" He knew its story down to my grandfather's name, traced through old plates and chassis records. He owned a London auto gallery and wanted it for display, not driving. His offer was 6 figures, starting with a historic preservation agreement. It was enough to fix the house, upgrade the garage, and still have cash to smirk at HOA nonsense for years. But I held off. I had one last move. I announced a charity auction, partnering with a veteran support center. The car Laura wanted gone would raise money for people who'd earned respect. The news blew up, local headlines, car magazines, even a specialty channel. Everyone wanted in. And who was there? Third row, big sunglasses, beige dress, screaming, "I'm innocent." Laura. Before the auction, she cornered me, offering to spin the story. I'll say it was a misunderstanding, that we value heritage. I didn't laugh, just said, "The only thing we learned is that looks without history are just vanity with a paint job." She slunk off. The auction was electric. The Charger gleamed under the lights, bids climbing fast, $80,000. Then $200,000. A Texas collector sealed it at $1.5 million. The crowd roared. The money split 3 ways: veterans, historic car preservation, and a chunk for me to keep things real. Laura tried to rewrite history on the HOA website, claiming she'd always backed community memory. No one bought it. The HOA group imploded, residents demanded elections, and fees got audited. Laura's clipboard empire crumbled. The buyer wanted a photo at my house, in front of the garage where the Charger lived. As we snapped it, Laura walked by, fake chatting on her phone. The collector nodded at her. "That the one who tried to trash it?" I said, "Ex-queen." He laughed. The car shipped out, covered, escorted to a European museum. Laura watched from the sidewalk, shrinking as it rolled away. The auction became legend. The money helped veterans, made headlines, and put our neighborhood on the map. Laura Faded, no more notes, no more meetings. The HOA WhatsApp turned into a meme dump. A petition killed the HOA entirely. Its office became a charity hub with a sign, "Solidarity, not pride." One day, a letter came, no sender, but her shaky handwriting gave it away. If I'd known the car mattered, I'd have stayed quiet. No sorry, just regret. I burned it. The garage got a makeover, new walls, floors, and photos of its history. In the center, a framed shot of the Charger at auction with a plaque, "Aesthetics fade. History doesn't." One evening, Laura passed by, staring at the sign. Her hand twitched like she wanted to wave, but she turned and left. No words needed. Her real punishment wasn't the fine or the memes, it was knowing the junk she despised became the heart of something she'd never build. Respect, truth, and a legacy that outlasts the engine's hum. Today, the garage is a hangout. Neighbors drop by, sip coffee, retell the saga of the car and the woman who underestimated it. They learned what shines brightest isn't always news, sometimes it's rust with a soul. If anyone calls that Charger just an old car, point them to the plaque. History always wins.